later. Hi, everybody. I'm so
Hello.
excited that you are here. My day in technology has been a little crazy, but alas, it doesn't matter because I am here with you now. And I get to be joined by David H. Lawrence the 17th as we are here to talk about ready to voice audiobooks like a freaking pro. I don't even think, David, you need an introduction anymore. I feel like everybody knows who you are, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
David is a legacy. That's what he is. He's an actor. He's an on camera, on mic, on commercials, voiceover, network TV, film, stage. He's a voiceover artist with decades in radio and TV and commercials and narration and animation. He's my mentor in audiobooks and all things voiceover. I made thousands of dollars from listening to this man. I'm still doing audiobooks and still making a ton of money because of him. And that's really why he's here right now, is because I want you to make a lot of money doing audiobooks and telling stories and doing what you love. And there is no one that I trust more with that than David H. Lawrence the 17th. I just feel like now I have to give you a round of applause. I just think here we are.
Hold on, everybody. It's been great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Yeah, I love not hearing about myself, but I love hearing the results. And even though there's no guarantees in this business that anything will lead to a particular outcome, it's nice to know that sometimes it works. So thank you for that. That's great.
Yes, it does. Yeah. What you teach works. So that's why you're here, because I want to share you with my community. And you're in the middle of launching something big, which is amazing. And I wanted you to come on and share your insights in your course, in your knowledge with my people here on YouTube and Facebook. And I think Instagram, it still says people are joining. So we'll see. So let's just start off with a simple, easy question. There's no money in audiobooks, true or false?
Absolutely true. I mean, there isn't, if you kind of go, how hard can this be? And throw stuff against the wall just to see what sticks.
Yeah.
Likely not much. And, as with anything, I think that the people that are really successful in audiobooks make it look so easy that people get the misconception that it's not all that hard to do. And if you know what you're doing, it is not all that hard to do. In fact, one of the watchwords of the ACX Masterclass, which is what I teach, what we're talking about here today, what we'd love for you to consider becoming a student of, is giving you a repeatable kind of lather, rinse, repeat process from searching for work, auditioning for work, finding work, executing the work, and then delivering a retail-ready product that your author, rights holder, publisher, production platform, and you can be so proud of. And when people get just the tiniest amount of support, and we don't give a tiny amount of support, we give a huge amount of support, but just the tiniest amount of support and guidance, and say, listen, I know you think this might be the way it goes, but you might want to try this. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like with anything, when you know how to approach it, when you know how to do it, when you know what to expect, when you know how to negotiate, when you know how to use the mic, when you know all of it, I think that's when success can happen, So for those of you just tuning in here, oh, and yes, Jessica, he really is the 17th. He really is the 17th.
I would remind both you and Jessica that we are all practitioners in the world of show business.
But for all intents and purposes, we're going to say.
That's true.
And now I lost my train of thought, but that made me fun. Hi, Jessica. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you could be here.
You had asked if there's any money.
Yes, we're talking about the money in it, right? And it's just talking about that. Of course, there's money in it. If it's something that you want and you learn the skill set and how to go after it,
It is truly one of the easiest categories of work to find work in, paid work, and that's no joke. When I teach just a getting started in voiceover course, and we talk about what are the most voluminous areas of voiceover to seek work in. And far and away these days, commercials for sure, mostly because there's so many being made all across the country, local, regional, state, etc. But for sure, audiobooks. And the barrier to entry is zero, because you get on ACX, which is the platform that we teach. You don't have to be invited to audition like you do on most casting sites. You can go after whatever work you want. You go find, do a search. They have the same kind of searching filters as other sites do, based on gender of the narrator, vocal age, category, genre of the book, etc. You find something that trips your trigger, you can audition for it, and you don't have to wait for somebody to say you're allowed to. So that's part of it. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of projects that are available on ACX every single day. Not all of them are worth pursuing. We teach in the course how to judge harshly the project that you may or may not pursue, but just the pure numbers are in your favor.
Yeah. So let's first of all talk to people maybe who are watching this, who've never done an audiobook at all, but they've been interested in it. They really want to tell stories. They want to make some ancillary income as an artist. I mean, that's why I do it, right? It really helps fill in the gaps between acting work. What's the biggest piece of advice you would give that person?
Do your homework and don't hesitate to start. Everybody starts anything new with a number of fears kind of built in, unless you immediately recognize those fears and go, I know who you are, get out of here. Fear of failure, easy to pop up. Fear of the unknown. I don't know which direction to go in this particular thing. And the fear of failure is easy to dispatch. You can just say, yeah, I'm going to fail, but I'm going to learn a lot from my failure, right?
Right.
And then there's also this fear of success, because sometimes we look at something and we have a little romance around it. Oh, I'd like to tell people at parties that I'm an audiobook narrator, makes me popular with the chicks. But then you think to yourself, well, wait a minute, if I actually do figure this out, am I giving myself an onerous job to do? Am I giving myself a responsibility that maybe I don't want to have? And the good news about audiobook narration is it is so different from the way some people look at it when they look at the end result. They look at a 10-hour book, pretty average length, 6 to 13 hours. And they go, oh my God, did somebody sit there for hundreds of hours cranking out, narration and wearing down their voice? And what about the mistakes? And how did they edit all that out? There's this hidden kind of process that goes on. And I'm bearing down on 300 books, and I've been able to kind of see what works and what doesn't. From our past conversations that I have a particularly specific definition of success, which is do more of what works and less of what doesn't.
Yep.
And if there's an area of acting that I've pursued that philosophy with the most, it's audiobooks. The easiest and least expensive gear, highest quality, but least expensive. The easiest, process for doing the recording and the editing and the mastering so that your finished product is ready to sell to the public, the Audible people and the Amazon people and the Apple Books people and everybody else. So I have a feeling that if you just get started, and if you have someone to hold your hand, be your guide, walk you through this process, you're going to have a really high chance of success. And it could be much better than mine, much better than Jodie's. We're kind of like pursuing multiple categories of work. And Jodie, let's talk about Jodie as though she isn't here.
Great.
Jodie,
I wasn't in the beginning, so that's fair.
Yeah. Jodie mentioned, she does audiobook work in between other work.
Yeah.
And that's one of the joys of audiobooks is, like, for example, on ACX, when you contract to do a book, you're usually given 60 days to finish that book. Now, that means you got to get like an hour and a half on a 10-hour book. You got to get like an hour and a half done a week. A week.
Yep.
Even people who don't know what they're doing can stumble along and with a full-time job and get an hour and a half done every week.
Yep.
So
Sure.
it's not no high pressure. There's no huge mountain of work. You do 20 minutes to a half hour, and then you take a break and have some tea, and maybe you do another, or you do it the next day. It doesn't, it's so calming and soothing and centering. And now I'll stop talking.
But I love everything you said. I have to say, I'm getting comments on Instagram, so I assume where people can potentially see us. Earth Moon Wellbeing said, "I've just joined the ACX Masterclass course. See you on a 3 a.m. call, David." It's Carolyn from the UK.
Carolyn D.
Carolyn D. Yeah.
She joined earlier today. Loved having her.
I love it.
Join the class. And that's pretty interesting. She lives in one of the 4 ACX enabled countries. And so if you are a taxpayer, a citizen, someone with a tax ID in the United States, Canada, UK, or Ireland, today's conversation is for you. Even if you live somewhere else, even if you are an expat living in Portugal, the physical location that you're in doesn't matter. It's who you pay your taxes to that matters to Amazon. So, but Carolyn's like, she's in Staffordshire, I think, if I remember correctly from her. So, you can do it from all over the place. And if you're in one of those 4 countries, so some people are like, why can't I see your videos? I'm in Greece. Well, that's why, because we want to limit it to people who can take advantage of what's going on. And you can, no matter where you actually physically reside, you can. We have people in Japan, people in Australia, people all across Europe, people in South America and Brazil, but who are taxpayers in one of those 4 countries.
Got it. I love it. I'm going to post a link for those of you to look at David's class. For those of you who've been thinking about audiobooks, wanting to do audiobooks, wanting to up your audiobook game. If you're not booking like you want to be, now it said an error that when I tried to post it. Why is technology not working for me today?
It posted on YouTube.
That's what I posted it in StreamYard. I can go to YouTube. Yes.
Okay. Did Facebook say it was an error? Because it posted there too, it looks like.
It posted on Facebook?
It says in the comment stream, it shows that.
See, I don't even see that on Facebook.
We love technology. And so there's this shiny butterfly over on the screen where we're like, oh, I wonder what's going on with Facebook and YouTube and StreamYard. And oh my God, this is so cool. Jodie is like my sister from another mister. Like, we just love tech. And tech is one of those things. Let me vamp while you check it out, Jodie. Tech is one of those things that in audiobooks, people have a fear of.
Yes, thank you. Let's go there.
How do I do the editing, and how do I do the because they know kind of through the grapevine that Audible has standards that they have to meet with their audio. It can't just be like kind of good audio. It's got to be perfect, ready to sell. And in the course, we actually provide a piece of software at no charge called Audio Cupcake, which when you drop your edited recording onto it, it spits out an MP3 file that is exactly what ACX demands you upload, that is ready for retail. So it's a math problem that we have solved, and we solve for you on a regular basis. Yes. And it's included in the course.
Right. And that really answers Katie's question, right? Tips that you can give her mastering the work. She's worried that ACX won't accept the file because the levels are not right.
Man, I'm telling you, Katie, unless you're a plant, that's like a perfect question. And I don't mean a plant like a vegetable plant. I mean, like, unless you're a plant from Jodie's community to ask really good questions. Seriously, you record using my system, which is called the stair-step method. You record faster than you would with punch and roll. You record more true to the story. You stay in the story, and you take a break and give your voice a rest, and you're finished with a trimmed and edited WAV file that you then drag on top of Audio Cupcake, and however long the chapter takes to grind through Audio Cupcake, it then spits out the MP3 file that we know is going to pass their tests when you
Yeah.
upload it to the project?
Yes.
So, great
So,
question.
yes, Katie says, I mean, I am from Jodie's community. Yes, you are. But you were not a plant, though.
But you're not a plant.
I did think of a palm tree in my head when you said that. So I was
Please,
not
thanks,
thinking the other way.
I mean, a chill. I mean, somebody behind the scenes saying, let's
Right.
ask these questions. All right.
Exactly. But I think that's such exactly Katie's question. I'm just going to put it up here again. I think is what stops people, you know? I mean, even when I started audiobooks, when I moved to Los Angeles in 2013, you had a in-person audiobook class that I took. And that was when I
Right.
I met you prior to that.
Right.
But I took your in-person audiobook class. And even then I was like, oh, I don't know. Can I do this? This is just all this tech stuff and it's new and the files have to be perfect. Just like you're saying, Katie, like I had all the same mind chatter.
Yeah.
And then after studying with David, I got my ACX profile up, taught me how to optimize it. An author reached out to me to audition for her book. I'm like, all right, let me audition for this thing. And I did. And then I booked it and I was like, oh no, now I have to do this
You're a
book.
success. Now I got to do the work.
Now I got to do it. I don't know how to do it. I hadn't gotten that far in the course yet,
That happens. By the way, that happens all the time. I don't mean to interrupt you because I love this story of success. But the course begins this coming Monday. We're registering this week. It ends. Registration closes on Friday, and it will last. It's at your own pace, but the course will have stuff released all month long in July. Every day, every weekday, there'll be new material to be released, and without fail, people start putting their profiles together in the first week. They start learning the narration stuff in the second week, the tech in the third week, the business in the fourth week. By the second or third week, people have started to panic because they're getting offers. Yeah. They're getting offers either to audition or people come. Here's the thing. This is a very self-selected group of Katies and Kates and others, but they're all actors. Yeah. There's no barrier to entry to get on ACX. There are 600 and some odd thousand narrators, quote, narrator people on ACX. 595,000 of those people have no idea what to do. They should be nowhere near a microphone. They don't know what they're doing, but there's no stopping them from joining. Right. It's free to join. Right. There's no fee every year. So that means that 5,000 of us, trained actors, trained storytellers, when we take on an audition, when we tell a story, when we do a quick sample of a narration and a rights holder hears it, oh my God, we stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah. We're like, wait, who is this person that walked into my life and is going to take care of my baby that I've worked on for months, maybe years to gestate and birth my great American novel or my self-help book that's going to change the lives of everyone. They're putting that in your hands. Yeah. And you are demonstrating, because you're an actor, because you have storytelling skills, because you're on camera or you do other categories of voiceover, you just get this huge advantage that other people don't have. One of the first things we do next week is we tell people at random, go look at 5 fiction or nonfiction samples in a random narrator's profile. So this is people who've actually put up samples. This isn't just all the people that have just created an account but never done anything.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think we were doing that at the time that you took the course, but people come back with horror stories. Mm-hmm. I hear lawnmowers. I hear people sounding like they're on the radio. Oh, I hear audio that I can't really understand, or I hear, here, let me take that again. I hear, edits that should have been made.
Oh, no.
You get trained with the ACX Masterclass to do things the way you do, the care that you take with a self-tape for network television, when you're doing your audition. And the final work is a version of the audition. So anyway, there's so many advantages to the people that are in these rooms for this session because of their training as actors.
Yes. 1,000%. Well, and I think that's what I realized when I started off, and when I did that audition and was like, oh, I guess I do know what I'm doing for the most part. And then booked it and then had to learn very quickly how to record.
I love
And
those moments when
oh,
people are like, "Well, okay, well, and I want to make sure that you understand, Jody, that I'm going to offer a bonus today to people
oh,
that join the class,
okay, great.
the class. If you join using Jody's links in the chat, and join the class, either tonight and save $300, because
Yes.
this is the last day of our early action bonus pricing, or
Yes.
at least by the end of the week, I will give you an hour's free private coaching over Zoom. And you can use it in the first year, not, you don't have to use it during the class. So you take the class, you get going, you're like, I need some help with, this narration stuff, or I need help with my tech, or I just like a fresh set of ears to listen to what I'm doing, maybe make it a little bit better. You get an hour, you can spend it half an hour at a time if you want, a couple sessions. I want to give that to people who follow Jody, because you make my life so easy to work with people who are already on the path as actors. Because I got a lot of people who are like customer service reps who are like, David, the ladies, when they hear me on the phone,
Oh.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Or I'm an attorney. I've been acting in front of juries for decades. I know what I'm doing. Okay. But here I get to work with actors.
Yeah.
I get to work with actors that have been taken care of by Jodie Bentley, and it's like I'm thrilled. So let me offer that as a bonus for the people that do sign up, just so you know, and we'll make your stuff that's going to be good even better.
First of all, that's crazy. Second of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I thank you on behalf of everyone listening. No, that is really special, David. Thank you for doing that. Seriously.
Sure.
So again, for those of you listening, I did put the link in there. I'll post it again in a bit. But the early bird registration does end tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific?
9 p.m. Pacific. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So you get to, David will pay for $300 of your tuition if you sign up before 9 p.m. Pacific, and give you an hour of his time.
Yeah.
So that's
and that offer exists
value.
after the deadline tonight as well. We'll give you
Yeah.
the hour. But tonight, take advantage of it today. If this is something that you have always thought, I could do this. This fits in and amongst the, going after the Netflix dubbing that I'm doing, or the on-camera stuff that I'm doing for ABC, Jodie Bentley getting all dressed up as a cop and whatnot. I love this community, and I love watching people succeed. How many audiobooks have you done now, Jody?
I think I will. What am I saying?
Estimate.
No, I'm just laughing at myself. I couldn't get the words out. I was about to make an apology because I didn't do last year. I did 0 audiobooks. And you know why? It was my choice, which is why I love audiobooks, because I didn't have the time or space last year. I was writing my screenplay. And now this year I've started doing audiobooks again, and I just completed one. I have another one already lined up for July, which is very exciting. So once I complete the one in July, I think it's going to be 54 books.
Okay. Wow. I thought you were going to say, because last time we talked about this, you said something in the 20s. And I thought you were going to say 29 or 35.
No,
50,
no.
50 something. 50
Yeah.
something.
No, it's good.
Think about that.
It's definitely good. And like I said, I chose not to do them last year because I didn't have the time or space. But every year before, I would make another $8,000 to $10,000, right, from audiobooks. I mean, this last book just paid me $3,000. And look, this last book is an author who I recorded an entire series that she did. So I think I did 10 or 12 books.
Yeah.
And then the characters that I voiced ended up in another series that she wrote. And that was being done at a publishing company, and it was narrated by a man. But she loved the voices I created so much that I think that's the only thing I did last year. Last year, she kept sending me the publishing company kept sending me those 2 characters just to record their dialogue.
So you did a duet.
What's that?
you did a duet or a dual recording.
No,
You did
all I did was the dialogue of those two
right,
characters, and
right,
someone else did everything else.
right.
But she paid me 400 per finished hour for my, and minimum an hour, right? And
Yep.
so sometimes it would take me 20 minutes and I would
And
still
this
make.
is all union work, by the way. For those of you
Yeah.
that are in the union, this is all union work that contributes to your health and retirement.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
if there's one thing I'm proud of, Jodie is one of well over 2,000 uh, uh, actors that I've trained either with VO Heroes or with the ACX Masterclass. And all told, currently, according to Rachel and according to all the tracking that we've done, what we know of, over 8,000 books from my students on Audible right now for sale. And we promote those books for you once you've done the class. We promote those on our site. You have your own page with all of your links and everything. Anyway, this makes me so happy. So happy. You have no idea.
I love it. Well, you make me happy because, I'm just so grateful that I get to do that. And like I said, it's another income stream, So, and like I said, this author, right? I worked with her on 12 books. She loved these voices I did, paid me money for that. And then she's writing a whole new series. And she's like, hey, I want you to voice my new series, finish the first book. And that's what I just did. And she's like, I'll have the next one for you in July. I was like, great. So, it's, you start building relationships with authors. I don't really audition anymore for audiobooks. It's like past authors that keep reaching out to me to do more stuff. And I go, well, my rates increased. And they go, okay. And they still pay me.
Jodie is their narrator of choice. And that's our goal with all the students, is to put you in a position of being so valuable to your rights holder that you become their narrator of choice. Like, we even give you a collection of about 60 of the fairly common messages that I send back and forth as I'm working with a rights holder on everything from, okay, here's how I work, a welcome kit that shows them how you work, to your next chapter is up. Please go listen to it on ACX and approve it. We show you how to use Positron, which is an AI-driven proofing tool, which I adore. It's one of the balcony uses of AI as opposed to the basement uses of AI, for synthetic voices. And we can talk about that if you want.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are really nervous about the idea that they spend money to get trained, they buy the equipment, they set up the space in their house, in the closet or under the stairs or whatever. And along comes AI and takes all of our jobs. And I can safely say at this point, it's been 8 years since AI began to be a threat. And has it come and taken some of our jobs? Yeah. About 100,000 books are now on Audible that have been voiced by what they call virtual voice. They're AI voices. These are books that never would have been made by a human narrator. They couldn't have afforded to make them, but they're being made because they're back catalog or they're low sales or they're very specialized. But the reviews,
not good.
Well, I did a series of dramatic readings of the reviews of AI books last year, and one of them sticks in my mind. I didn't pay for this book, but I still want my money back. Hearing that sex scene, oh my God, I'm so excited.
My aunt-in-law, she's an author, and she wrote a book that took place in our hometown, which is New Bedford, Massachusetts. And her book is called Blue Collars. Go buy it. It's great. The publisher was a small local publisher, so it didn't really have any money. She just discovered over Christmas that she's like, oh yeah, they did an audiobook version of my book. And I'm like, why didn't you ask me to do the audiobook version of your book? I grew up in this town. And she's like, oh, I don't know. She's like, I didn't make any decisions. And I was like, huh.
She may not have had the rights.
Right. We looked up her book. It was an AI, recording. And now this is a book that took place in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Everyone has a Boston accent in my hometown. It was narrated by someone from London. The virtual voice was London. The book made no sense.
And you know why they did that? To cover the fact that they couldn't do a Southie accent versus a Worcester accent versus a Rhode Island accent, because some people were just out of town. They didn't know how to pronounce Woburn. They didn't get it.
Wista. They didn't know.
They didn't know what that. And so what do? They go, oh, well, Americans really like British accents. We'll have some British person do it. I'm listening to a book right now. I listen to audiobooks all the time because I think you should consume the content of what you're practicing. You know, I watch television all the time. I go to movies all the time. I go to plays. I want to see what my peers are doing, right?
Yes.
This is a book called Spies.
Okay.
It's all about covert activity by the CIA going back to, and other organizations going back to the Revolutionary War and the development of how countries, they do physical wars, but they also do these kind of clandestine wars. And it's produced by it's narrated by this British guy who has spent the entire book yelling at me. Spazi didn't know that the CIA had moles planted in the Kremlin. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's like, it's kind of a mask over what, the book would really be if they took the time to cast it. And I'm wondering, does your aunt have any recourse on this? Can she say to them, I want Jodie to do it anyway?
I don't. I think it comes down to funds, that she didn't have the funds to do it, and I think that you said the publisher probably owned the rights, and so it's a lot.
Here's the thing. I do work, and I'm not saying you should do this because this you don't have to do this, but having these skills allows me to do work for friends, for family, at no charge or at royalty share rates, right?
Sure.
And royalty share means they don't have to pay you anything. You just participate on sales. So when the book sells, you get 20%. The author gets 20%. That's one of the cool things that ACX added to the mix back in 2011 when it was created. So, and I've done this for friends. There's a guy I know that is a builder who's helped me, do some repair work and tell me what to do when I was looking for something. And he's a columnist, and he wrote this book called Roofing Nightmares or something. Like, it's never going to be a bestseller, but it's a 40-page book. Okay. And I said, let me do this for you. Let me thank you for letting me know about Apex repiping. It's made a difference in my home. Let me do this for you. You have this skill now that you can bring to the table, So anyway, thank you. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but to your point, sure, some books will be AI. Sure, AI is going to be doing some things. And every author I talk to, like you said, it's their baby. She's like, I wrote this new series. I want it to feel this way and cozy and that. And I want your voice to be warm and this and that. And there's all these characters. And, here's what the characters should sound like. Like, they want a human to do that. Yep. And as someone who also consumes a lot of audiobooks, I want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to a computer narrate a book with emotions and feelings and
this is
what have you.
This is not like hopeful, wishful thinking that AI will just go away.
Right.
This is the results of AI. In fact, 11 Labs, which is one of the companies that has AI voices that people can purchase to use for audiobooks, they've now kind of thrown their hands up and gone, okay, AI can't do subtext. It can't do hidden agendas. It can't do long story arcs. We'll add emotion tags. So now you as a human being have to go in once it's done the work and say, you know what tagging is, right? You know HTML, right? You you want to make something bold, you put strong / strong on either side of it, right?
Right.
Now you can put sad / sad, sexy / sexy, mysterious / mysterious. So now you're doing the work of modifying what was supposed to be so brilliantly automatic.
Interesting.
Okay, so maybe AI isn't going to, be as quick to take our jobs away as possible. And they'll also keep mispronouncing words.
Yep.
Misspeaking, geographic locations, scientific terms. So anyway, I know that your time is limited, and I want to make sure that I answer any questions that people have. So
yes. No, we got
into it. Katie, breaths.
Katie, yes. Jesus. Potentially stupid question, breaths. I've been self-conscious of them while recording, and editing them came to be tedious. Oh no. Also worried it'll sound weird in the recordings. Thoughts?
I have 2 lessons that are dedicated to breaths. First, as a dramatic device, and second, that helps singers who know how to gasp in breath not do that when they're doing audiobooks.
Yeah.
But breaths are your beauty marks. Breaths are your dimples. I am so attracted to women with dimples. I can't tell you. I don't know what it is about my upbringing. Maybe there was some girl in the neighborhood that like ignored me and she had dimple. I don't know what it was. But breaths are some of the most useful, first of all, mechanical moments and dramatic moments. They are not to be excised. Now, what they are to be is heard, because the audience, if you take all the breaths out, the audience is going to get really nervous that you're not breathing properly. They hear these things. You are so your worst enemy, your own worst enemy when it comes to breathing. So great question. Safely move that from the list of things to worry about over to the list of things not to worry about. Now, you can't pop the microphone. You can't, hit a plosive really hard and pop the mic, but that's not what I think you're talking about. I think what you're talking about is, I've been told I have to get rid of all my breaths. And there are all these plugins that I can get that are de-breathers. And it's like, no, not in audiobooks, not in anything, actually. Would you de-breath your on-camera auditions? Do you? No, you don't. Because it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
So, Katie, you don't have to worry about breaths and you don't have to worry about tech. See, we got you.
Yeah.
David's got you. And I think one thing if I'm narrating and sometimes I'll hear the breaths too much, or I just remind myself that I know how to breathe, and sometimes it doesn't have to be audible. But I also make it audible when it's the character speaking, because that's natural.
Sure.
That's just
and all
natural.
kinds of breaths too.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, we got to get out of here. We got to go. Come on. Or it's not even that exercised. It's just, so I did this, I did that, I did this. Oh no. Like, who knows? It all depends on context,
Yeah.
It's how you act, and breathing is part of acting.
Katie says, yay.
You're welcome.
Yes. But this is it's like anything though, right? If you have an interest in something and you want to do it, but then it's your mind going, oh, but this, oh, but that, I don't know if I could do that. Oh, but that might be hard. Oh, but I don't know if I could learn that because the tech's so hard. Oh, but, oh God, brother, I have to edit all those out then. Right. And we start to really talk ourselves out of doing something that could actually be an amazing another arm in your business, We
do that all the time with everything that we do. We tell ourselves fairy tales that limit our ability to succeed.
Yeah, for sure. And, and I know you believe this, David, that I think being an artist now in this day and age, over the past 5 years of what we've been through in this industry, even more so, it is about being a multi-hyphenate and having multiple income streams.
Yep.
It's just what it is.
Yep.
You're not going to necessarily be working on set 365 days out of the year. If you are, congratulations, that's amazing.
You'd be here watching. You'd be on set. You're not going to do that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way for A-listers.
Yeah.
How many times have we watched an A-lister talk about imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
How many times have we watched an A-lister go, I was doing regional theater and I was living paycheck to paycheck. I saw a video from Christine Baranski just today talking about the fact that, this, or Samuel L. Jackson, this overnight success that you think I've had took me 15 years to get here.
Right.
So I hope that you understand we're not selling a dream here. I'm not saying to you, you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing audiobooks. What I can tell you is that if you have the training to do both the acting work and the production work, because you get to control the production.
Yeah.
And then you understand what you need to know about working with another human being or another platform to be their production partner. And many of you who are watching this or listening to it, you've created your own content. You've worked with a team, maybe a cinematographer, maybe a screenwriter or a makeup artist or a costumer. And you know what it's like to have production partners in place. That's what you're doing when you're working with what's called a rights holder, an author or a publisher or a platform on ACX.
Yeah.
And we just try to make sure that you're successful with that with the ACX Masterclass.
Yeah. And everything that you teach just sets people up for that success, which is key, right? So how are you going to separate yourself from everyone else doing the audiobooks, right? And it's just being able to deliver on all of this. So, I know, just David, the early bird registration again ends at 9 p.m. tonight. I will put that link there again. Let's see if it works this time. Though I saw that it did go through on Facebook as well. But here's that link. Take a look, read about it. You can ask me any questions. I'm sure David would be amenable if you had questions to ask him. We just want you to feel solid and good about all of this and about starting a new part of your career that maybe you've been thinking about or dreaming about. I am so glad that I did this when I did in 2013. Because you know why? During COVID and the pandemics, I still made bank doing audiobooks. And it was fun.
How funny was it when the pandemic hit and those of us that do voiceover in general and audiobooks in particular were like, okay, so the rules are we have to be socially distanced and isolated at home. Okay, don't throw me in the briar patch, bear. We were kind of used to that. And it's not like you're going to be isolated from the world forever. It really draws you into the world. It makes you feel educated, and it makes me feel educated and centered and like I'm providing a service. I've played rutabagas, I've walked on stage half naked. Please you don't need to imagine. I've done things that haven't really contributed to the zeitgeist, but I've also created audiobooks that I'm really, really proud of. And that I feel like have supported our society, people in general, people specifically. And you can do the same thing and make money at the same time. So, any last questions?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just wanted to add to what you said. First of all, I was like, and you just get to be a storyteller. How exciting. Like that's part of what we do. Let me see. I mean, my questions were all around AI and tech, which we've kind of discussed. Oh, you know what? As we were talking, I just wanted to like that's my booth behind me. Like I now have a booth. When I started, I didn't have a booth. I didn't. I had a little tiny space in a closet. When I first started, I think I didn't even have a space set up when I booked that book, David. I had like a towel over my head while I was recording. But
nobody does.
It's like it's not about being perfect. It's just about starting and learning. And I'm so glad that I did that when I did 12 years ago, to now have that as a skill set that I get to share and use and supplement my income. And so I just want you to know that it's possible, because I had no freaking idea what I was doing when I started. I had no idea, but David helped.
Well,
right?
I have clients that, like Michael Kostroff, Michael Kostroff,
yes,
right?
Of course.
So Michael Kostroff, one of my clients, his apartment is a block and a half away from the 101. And so he deals with it. He's got a walk-in closet, not a walk-in closet, a closet that he can close the door on. And it works. It works. We meet you, where you are. I have clients that live in the middle of the country. They also have noise complaints. Those damn birds. I have clients in Midtown Manhattan. They've got traffic issues. I get it. But everybody figures it out. Maybe you record at a different time of day. Maybe you record when the kids are at school. Maybe you don't record on Tuesday afternoons when your neighbor has got the gardeners over with a leaf blower. Who knows? You learn to adapt.
Figure it out.
Exactly.
I love it. Katie says, I love audiobooks. I'm really looking forward to getting started. I love it, Katie. I'm so excited.
I get to work with you, Katie.
Yeah.
You ask the best questions. It's
I
like
know.
You're reading my mind.
Well, I also know Katie, because she's been a long, long time client of mine. And I know that she's made a commitment now to really go full force in VO. So I'm excited for you, Katie. Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions, of course. All right. I mean, I think my only other question, and we've kind of touched upon it, I know it's called the ACX Masterclass, right? But I think so many people just think that they have to work with publishers, and I don't know publishers, and how do I get into publishers? And people freak out about that they
Yeah.
have that the only way to make money is to work with publishers. So what do you say to that?
Yeah. So what we want you to do is work with ACX first, to just cut your teeth.
Yeah.
And then the very last module of the course is called Beyond ACX. And we introduce you to the big 5 publishers. We introduce you to places like Penguin Random House and Tantor and Blackstone and Brilliance and production houses, people that do this work for publishers. We teach you about rights holders and how they could exist independent of ACX. But the skills that you learn to do the production work and the sort of customer service with your client that you do on ACX, the workflows. Oops. Sorry. I had my alarm set for my next session.
Oh, so sorry.
No, it's okay. I got a little time. So that, by the way, was the DJ Cummerbund mashup of Everybody and the Sunshine Band. And if you haven't heard it yet and you're a 70s disco fan, get the heck on that on YouTube when you're done here. DJ Cummerbund. All right. So what we do is we teach you how to apply all those things that you've learned.
Yeah.
Doing the work on ACX, just kind of like what you would do when you're first doing student films or you're doing, independent stuff with Actors Access. Yeah. You can still apply those skills when you're on the big time sets, right? But in this case, you get paid. You get paid either per finished hour, or you get paid on a royalty share or royalty share plus basis. So you have those options. And we want you to have a full service. We want you to be like Jodie and have a full service offering where you're not just dealing with ACX, but also everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to say though, I have worked with Penguin. I have worked with a couple other, now I'm blanking on where they were. And I've worked with publishing companies.
Didn't you work with Dion?
Yes, Dion Audio, correct. Yeah. That's one. Thank you for knowing my resume.
Your oeuvre.
Than me. But I gotta say, I love working directly with the authors. I just keep going back to ACX. I get paid more, and it's still union, and I still get pension, and I get to, again, do it on my own time, and I love it. And that's just, there's just a lovely flexibility. So
real quick, we have talked a little bit about the union aspects of this. Just know that if you're non-union, it's okay.
Yes,
if
correct.
you're union, it's okay. Every project on ACX can be narrated by either a union narrator or a non-union narrator. It's not like there are union projects and non-union projects. Everybody can play. So no matter what your status is, you can narrate any title on ACX. We show you which ones you should go after and which ones you should avoid.
Yes, which is key. Let me tell you, that's a really important skill to learn.
Yeah.
Well, so again, I'll just say again, registration for ACX Masterclass is open. The early bird registration does end tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. And David is generously gifting anyone in my community today, if you sign up before 9 p.m., an hour one-on-one with him to be used over the course of a year. And that is extremely high value.
If you join, we ask you to give us your, confirmed information so we can send you a little welcome kit. Please let me know that you heard about it from Jodie. We do kind of track this, but please let me know, just because I want to know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
David, any last minute thoughts to share with our aspiring narrators?
Just give yourself a gift. Don't be afraid to try something new. You're gonna screw up. You're gonna make mistakes, and you're going to learn from all those things and be a better actor, a better storyteller, and potentially create a new tendril in your portfolio of opportunities as an actor.
A tendril in your portfolio. I love it. Oh, David, as always, thank you for sharing your insights, your journey, your course with my community. What you do is so valuable. And again, for those of you watching, if audiobooks has been your thing, This is my mentor. This is the guy to do it with. So I invite you to click that link and have a look. All right, David, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck the rest of your day. I will see you soon. All right. Bye, everybody.
See you later.